Welcome again to Reason and Truth Ministries. This evening we are going to take a look at names and how it relates. Remember last week we were talking about two authorities in reference to the kingdom of the world and the kingdom of Hashem. And while we were discussing those two authorities, we spoke about the mark, the oath that Hashem has placed on Cain and on the seventh day, on the Shabbat day. Now these two marks are very significant because within the Hebrew language there is a sense of Pelah, wonder, because God himself is a wonder, and even that word wonder, Pelah, is from that name Aleph, because when you just do you take the letters and you just change them around, you find that word Aleph, which is Pelah. And in the Aleph itself, it's a wonder. And Pelah, we know, is prayer, which comes from also as we described and we spoke about before, the Tefillin, right? And we know Tefillin are like the mitzvot that we ought to do when we are bringing to Zakah, remembrance of the Creator. Now, the Hebrew language is so significant and necessary that it's a reminder always that what we are doing, how we are doing it, and the reason why we're doing it. So it's like it's always bringing to bear on our mind our point of origin, the reason and meaning for your purpose, and where are we going to spend all eternity, destiny. And it's so significant and necessary that all what we have learned, all what we have been taught, it goes back to the very neshama, or the breath of God, the Shema, or Shamayin. Yeah, when you hear Shamayin, we think about heaven, but Shema, it's the, we're talking about the heavens and the breath, or the wind, but we call it the Ruah. We relate it to spirit, but it carries those two same meanings. But when Hashem blow the breath into man and man became a living soul, he used the word Neshama. So now, the word Shem, or name, as we in the West know this name, but what does a name mean? What does it mean? So now, even going back from last week and moving forward, we see Cain went on and he found and knew his wife in the land of Nod. And he grew to a mighty and great stature. And they were men of renown, and renowned men whose name was so solidified and significant in society. So men of renown, meaning their name became great around that province, and so great to the point where they influenced the whole society. So now, Cain, as his name, what it literally means, it means to acquire. And that is why when Adam knew his wife, Eva, which is mother of all, and that is what Ivrit, right? And when he knew now his wife, she bare him a what? A son. And that son, it's Cain, and Cain means to acquire. And that which you acquire, what is literally happening? Meaning you're acquiring things that you know that relates to what? The physical realm. So now Cain, he is one who acquired things that relate to space, time, and matter. He is acquiring all these things. So, and we know Cain killed Abel, and then she had a son whose name was Seth. And Seth literally means to what? To place, right? To be set in one place, to set in a position, right? So you're getting this sense, this idea of something is being positioned and something is being acquired. So you're getting two distinct, and you've got to remember that in the Hebrew language, it's very functional. A name in itself carries, it gives the action of a thing, a name. Or a name speaks about what action followed that thing. So names, as is used, is either used as a verb or a noun. And every noun can be a verb in the Hebrew language, because it speaks about the action of a thing or the action that comes from that thing. For example, the word barak. Barak means to bend one knees. And to bend one knees, we translate barak in the West as bless. But that has no bless. When you say bless, you could only bless God. But barak means to bend one knees. And it also means the knees that bend. So it's the same Hebrew word, barak. Barak. Right? Barak. Same Hebrew word for to bend your knees, or to say the knees that bend. But the context in how it is used will be reflective in how the word is translated. So this is why you got to become Hebrew knowledgeable and Hebrew cognizant in order to understand what Hashem is saying. So now, that's just for clarification with barak, which means, we take it to means bless. But I think I did a teaching on that with barak and bless. You can check it out online. So now, we've seen that Cain knew his wife, and now the names of these two generations is being given. And last week I think we read from it. This week we want to just take a look, a brief look at what these names are saying, right? And we read from Genesis chapter 4 last week, from chapter 4, from 13 all the way down to 23, where we said Lamech said to his wife, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. So Ada and Zillah is hearing whose voice? Is hearing Lamech's voice, right? So now, so let's jump down to chapter 5. You found chapter 5? And this is, so in Genesis chapter 4, basically what we got the lineage of Cain up to Lamech, right? We get the lineage of Cain. And
Lamech or Lamech?
Lamech, M-E-C-H. No, not that. Forget this. Don't not this. Lamech is in the lineage of Cain. Okay? And now, that is in the ending of Genesis chapter 4. So now we go into Genesis chapter 5. And hear what it says. These are the family records of the descendant of Adam. On the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created that man and that male and female. When they were created, he blessed them and called them man. Right? Now, you hear how those words are being used there. So it's Zakah and Zakaha. Zakah and Zakaha. Right? Male and female. Because Zakah, don't make the H look, don't want to tie you guys up. Zakah is male. And what we know Zakah to mean? Zakah means what? To remember. Right? And if I just put a here at the end, Zakara. Right? and that is feminine, right? Zakah is male, this is male, and this is female. So he is saying when he made them what? Male and female. But now the Hebrew language is so specific because these words is bringing to remembrance. So this word zakah is telling them they got to what? They got to what? Remember. What they have to remember. Now they have to remember something that is of great importance. Now, the only way I can remember is when that is brought to your remembrance all the time. What are they to remember? They are to remember names. In the Hebrew language, even the word name carries the very essence of the thing. What the Hebrew word for name means is what it comes from. This is the root. This is Shem. Right? And Shem, it means, the shin means that. Right? And the mem means what? Water. So that water. So it's pointing towards something. That water. That character. That thing. That essence. Because when we read Genesis 1, we know all things came from the what? From the water. The water, all things came from the water. The earth, the heavens, the stars, everything came from the water. Everything was produced by the water. So this literally is that water, or that source, right? Or that which gave rise to all things that exist. That which